Sportswashing. Now, that's a word you've probably heard used quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, but what does it actually mean? Well, sportswashing can be defined as an incredibly wealthy individual, company, or even a country acquiring or investing into a sports club or event to alter the way in which they are perceived by the rest of the world based on their previous reputation. These owners originate from backgrounds which are usually seen as immoral or questionable in nature, either through the way in which they've obtained their wealth or within the activities that take place in their respective country, company, or personal background. Sportswashing isn't necessarily a new concept, with links all the way back to 1936, where the Olympic Games were held in Berlin, Germany, under Nazi occupation prior to the Second World War. Now, the modern day cases of sportswashing aren't all as extreme as in the past. However, the examples are still incredibly controversial and are paving a way for a darker side of sport to be perceived as just part of the game. The most talked about story in football right now, and one of the standout examples of sportswashing, is all about Chelsea Football Club and their oligarch owner, Roman Abramovich. Buying the club in 2003, Abramovich spearheaded the modern-day foreign investment of clubs in the Premier League and created a template for other wealthy individuals to follow. But how did he become the wealthy owner in the first place? Making his fortune through selling previously Russian state-owned assets, including a 73% stake in Russian oil firm Sibneft to the state-owned Gazprom in 2005. This garnered Abramovich $13 billion, which would later help to increase his overall net worth all the way to $23.5 billion in 2008. The oligarch also has shares in Russian steel company Evraz, which is connected to the tanks being manufactured and used for the invasion of Ukraine. Roman Abramovich's purchase of Chelsea can be seen as an attempt to improve the reputation of Russia across the rest of Europe and even the world by involving himself in the interests of one of the continent's biggest clubs and transforming them into a powerhouse of British and European football since 2003. However, following Abramovich's links to Putin, the UK government have now placed sanctions on Roman, preventing him from making any money whilst owning the club. But what does this mean for Chelsea? Chelsea Football Club are no longer able to sell home or away tickets to non-season ticket holders, transfer or loan any players full stop, as well as having any broadcast money accessible to them frozen for the current time being. The club are also unable to sell shirts or merchandise officially, and this is preventing them from generating any form of income at the current moment. They're operating under a special license which allows them to still play games. However, one of the biggest problems with this is that it costs them around £1 million to host a game at Stamford Bridge. Now, the government are only letting them spend half of that. Chelsea's main sponsor, 3, have pulled away from the club, resulting in all kits to require removal of their logo, as well as any logos and branding within Stamford Bridge to be taken down too, until further notice. Now, these sanctions remain in place until at least the end of the season. It remains to be seen just how far the government will go with regards to Chelsea and Abramovich. This example of sports washing has been followed by clubs such as Manchester City and the worldwide City Group Football Project, who later went on to breach financial fair play and allegedly falsify partnerships to mislead their monetary incomings. PSG and Newcastle United, within their Qatari and Saudi Arabian ownership respectively, have also followed this model. These countries are notorious for having a horrific lack of basic human rights and generating their wealth through very dodgy means. Saudi Arabia are not only using football to attempt to wash away their horrendous human rights record, but have also hosted the Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz rematch fight in 2019 to help clean away their stained image. The most fascinating aspect of the process of sports washing is the route in which it appears to have become almost normalised within sport. We see Formula One races taking part in countries across the globe in places where we don't even consider the backgrounds before tuning in to see 20 cars roaring around the tarmac. Massive boxing fights taking place in Saudi Arabia has become almost the norm when considering options and where to host these events, aside from the competitors' homelands, of course. The World Cup being held in Russia and Qatar back to back, and that's just being accepted because it's part of the global game and everyone has a right to see it, despite the reports of numerous deaths during the construction of the upcoming campaign, which is set to take place in November of this year. But what can we do? As spectators, not much, but researching these owners is important in order to understand where the finances come from. To be well versed on the side of sport, which looks to be removing the importance of the fans' views, will allow us to have knowledge to know when something doesn't seem right in the world of sport, at least with more accuracy. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you learned a little bit more about sports washing and what it means to the game we love. Make sure to subscribe to the Beatables YouTube channel for more sports content in the future. Go on. It's free.